Hey guys, I know it's been a while, but it's time for another challenge video. In today's video, we're going to be doing the hardest challenge I've done yet. We're going to see, is it possible to beat Pokemon HeartGold with only a Happiny? But you already knew that if you read the title. If you're wondering why this challenge is going to be hard, let me explain. Now these are Happiny's stats. Now if you didn't know, Happiny is tied with Chansey for having the worst attack and defense in the entire game. Pretty much what this means is that Happiny will barely be able to deal any physical damage, and if it gets hit by as much as a gust of wind, it'll die. Now, this wouldn't be too bad if Happiny had a decent special attack stat, which it doesn't. On the plus side though, Happiny is very tanky in special defense and HP. Unfortunately for me, the only move that Happiny learns by level up is Pound, which is physical, which is bad news for me considering I won't do any damage. There is some light at the end of the tunnel though. Happiny does get some pretty good TMs that he can learn, but unfortunately a lot of them aren't until way later on in the game, so we're going to have to deal with that. You guys know the drill. Before we get into the challenge, I'm going to have to tell you the rules. Rule number 1. I am only allowed to use Happiny to do damage in battle. Rule number 2. Happiny will not be allowed to evolve at any point during the challenge. Rule number 3. No items will be allowed during battle except held items. Rule number 4. No glitches or exploits will be allowed during the challenge, except to get Happiny as my starter. Finally, rule number 5, I am allowed to use HM slays outside of battle. Now, let's get into it. Now this challenge starts off like every other challenge, with Professor Oak asking my name. Now once again, I choose the name Dead because at this point, I'm pretty much dead inside. After choosing Happiny as my starter, I had to head up to talk to Professor, and on my way back, I got challenged by my rival. Now if you're wondering, I named my Happiny Excellent. Sorry about the pun. Now this battle against his Totodile went a lot smoother than I thought it would, mostly because I out-leveled it by 4 levels. Pretty much all I did was spam Charm to lower its attack so it couldn't do much damage to me, and then I took it out with Pound. Luckily, his Totodile only used Scratch once in the entire battle, and I managed to get through it with only taking 4 damage. Now I did attempt to EV train a little bit, grinding up on Centret and Metapod to raise my attack and defense, but unfortunately I gave up on this a bit early, which made the challenge harder later on. Shortly after defeating my rival, I returned to Professor Elm's lab, and I am immediately accused of committing a crime. Luckily, however, that is cleared up pretty quickly. Apparently, it was the redhead guy I ran into earlier, so the police officer asked me his name. I decided to name my rival not Gary, because that's truly who he is. Briefly after ratting someone out to save my own ass, it's time to battle everyone's favourite youngster, Youngster Joey. Now this battle doesn't go as smoothly as you'd think. Youngster Joey starts off by trying to lower my defense, which is already abysmal. After me using Charm a few times, him using Leer to lower my defense, and then me pounding the shit out of him, eventually I do win, but on 19 health. Surprisingly, he did a lot more damage than I thought he would. Now after defeating what will clearly be the hardest challenge in this entire run, it's time for the Bellsprout Tower. Now, at this point in the game I was still trying to EV train, so the Bellsprout Tower was like the optimal place to do that, mostly because Bellsprout gets attack stat, and Happiny needs all the attack it can get at this point, because it does like no damage. To be honest, nothing really of note happened in Bellsprout Tower. The battles weren't too difficult. The reason I showed this was to show you guys that I was trying to EV train early on, and that it was a big mistake to give up EV training. You'll realize why later on. Now that we've successfully cleared Bellsprout Tower, it's time for the first gym. And now, it's time for the battle with Faulkner. Now unfortunately Pidgey went for Sand Attack mostly and lowered my accuracy like a lot. I managed to take it out eventually with Pound, with only taking 6 damage from Pidgey. Next up, Faulkner sent out his Pidgeotto. Now I wasn't sure if I could win this considering my accuracy was so low, but I had prepared for this, so let's see how it goes. Now I missed my first 2 shots considering my accuracy was so low, but when the third one hit, I knew I was screwed. Now Pidgeotto took me out really easily. I knew there was no way I was beating it at this level, so it's time to grind. So I decided to grind up to level 20 before attempting this gym again. At level 20 I managed to take out Pidgey in 2 shots before it was able to use its Sand Attack even once, so my accuracy was at 100%. Now I started off by using Charm like a bunch of times to lower its attack to the point where it's doing no damage to me. Now after grinding up to level 20, Pound manages to do double the damage of what it was doing before, which is still not great. Now, I completely forgot that Pidgeotto had Roost, which I thought would screw me up really badly, but for some reason it only used it once. Now, at this point, because of all my charms, Pidgeotto is doing like 4 damage to me, and I am doing a lot more damage to it. Now, after some sort of miracle, I managed to defeat Pidgeotto and defeat the first gym. And with that, we claim ourselves the first gym badge, I don't know how to pronounce the name of that badge. Okay, cool. Shortly after defeating the first gym, I arrived at Union Cave. Now, at first I thought I'd have a problem here because of all the rock type trainers in this cave, but fortunately enough you can skip most of them, which is weird. And because I'm lazy, I obviously skip every single rock type trainer in the entire cave. And with Union Cave out of the way, it's time for the second gym battle, Bugsy. Now I'm going to tell you this right now before the battle even starts. This is the hardest gym battle I've ever done in any Pokemon game ever. Let's get into it. Now the real problem with this gym battle is his Scyther, which straight away uses focus energy every time, and then uses U-turn usually, and gets a critical hit, which does a lot of damage to me because of the physical move. And to make matters worse, I do almost no damage to it, which is great, considering I out-leveled it by 8 levels. And if that wasn't bad enough, to add insult to injury, it's not even the Scyther that kills me in this battle, it's a bloody mother frickin' Metapod. And now after that absolutely crushing defeat, it is time to grind. Now if you want to know why it took me so long to make this challenge video, this is why. Literally it took me almost 2 full days to beat this gym. I was grinding attempts, trying to beat it every single time. Fucking ridiculous. This gym battle was the hardest thing I've ever done in any Pokemon game, ever. And that's not even an exaggeration. Now, eventually I did end up beating it, and I'm going to show you that right now. So at this point in the run, I was borderline about to give up because I didn't think it was possible to actually beat this gym at level 40. But then this happened. Yes, that's right. I just killed Scyther. Yeah, this is the first time I've actually killed Scyther in all this time. Grinding for 2 whole days, and I just beat Scyther for the first time at level 40. Because luckily he didn't use U-turn for the entire battle, which means I was able to take him out. And now the battle is smooth sailing from here on out. When I finally defeated Scyther, I was borderline in tears in real life. That's how long it took me, and how mentally strained I was. But somehow we managed to defeat Bugsy, and claim ourselves the Hive badge. After defeating the second gym, it's time to battle my rival again. Now anyone that's played this game before knows why this is going to be a hard battle. This is the problem with this battle. The reason this is hard is because I only have Pound, and this is a Ghost type, and normal types can't hit Ghost types. Which means I am forced to use Struggle. Also, unfortunately, Ghastly usually always goes for Curse first up, which if you don't know what Curse does, it halves its health, and then every turn I take 1/4 of my health as damage. The fact that Ghastly always goes for Curse, and paired with me only being able to use Struggle because I can't hit Ghastly with Pound, means that excellent Happiny dies pretty quickly. You know what that means? More grinding. Yay! After grinding up to level 45, I attempted the battle again. This time I got all the way up to his Croconaw with decent HP, but unfortunately I was unable to beat it this time around. So I guess it's time for more grinding. Fortunately I did eventually beat it at level 50. Unfortunately though, the rest of the video corrupted, so I don't actually have the footage of me battling my rival. But I did beat it, as you can see here. Now normally I would have reset and given it another go, but at this point I was so mentally drained that I just wanted to have it over with. So I didn't do that. It's okay though, you can let me know how much of a disgusting human being I am for not doing it in the comments. After receiving cut from some old guy after helping him find his Farfetch'd, and then it finally happens, Happiny is able to learn a new move, Headbutt. I gladly get rid of Pound for Headbutt. Now Headbutt is still a physical move, but it has 30 more power than Pound and also has a chance to flinch, which makes it significantly better than Pound. And after breathing a long sigh of relief, it is time for what I thought would be the hardest gym battle in this entire run. Usually this is the hardest gym battle in a normal playthrough of this game, but for some reason whenever I see a challenge video of this game, this gym is surprisingly easy. For instance, Whitney sends out her Clefairy and I one-shot it with Headbutt. And to my surprise, I even almost do half damage to Milk Tank, which is more than I thought I'd do considering it's a really tanky Pokemon. After Whitney wastes both her super potions, I end up taking her out with Headbutt and Solar Beam. To be honest, I'm surprised that Headbutt was doing as much damage as it was doing, considering even at level 51, my current attack stat is 29. That's right, 29 at level 51. That's ridiculously low. Like, really, really low. But somehow we managed to take it out. And with that surprisingly easy battle, we have defeated the third gym. After Whitney has a little bit of a cry, we finally receive the third gym badge, the plain badge. After defeating the third gym, I head to the burnt tower and it's time to battle my rival again. This time around, my rival's Ghastly is no problem and I take it out in one shot with Solar Beam. The rest of the battle goes pretty much the same way. I one shot all of his Pokemon with either Headbutt or Solar Beam. After that surprisingly easy rival battle, it's time for the 4th gym. Now before I battled the 4th gym, I decided to level up all the way to level 55 and also learn the TM for Fire Blast to make this battle a little bit easier. The first Pokemon he sent out was his Ghastly, which I one-shot with Fire Blast. Surprisingly easy. Surprisingly, his battle wasn't too difficult, but it was really long because his team was really stally, especially his Gengar, using Hypnosis to put me to sleep. But eventually, I did take his Gengar out. After defeating his Gengar, next up was his Haunter, which also had Hypnosis. His Haunter also had Dream Eater, which made this battle a little bit annoying, but I did end up taking it out with 1 Solar Beam and 1 Fire Blast. Morty's last Pokemon was another Haunter, which I took out in one go with Fire Blast, winning the battle. And with the 4th gym out of the way, we claim ourselves the Fog badge. We also get the TM for Shadow Ball, which I instantly teach to Happiny because it will be useful for later on. After a brief little hop, skip and jump, we arrive in Cyan Wood City. That means it's finally time for the 5th gym, the Fighting type gym. To be honest with you, I was a little bit worried about this gym just because I'm a normal type and they're fighting types, and also any physical attack will take me out almost in one shot. Let's see how it goes. Time for the battle with Chuck, the 5th gym leader. To start off, Chuck sent out a Primate and started using Double Team, which worried me a little bit, but somehow I managed to get through both Double Teams and take him out with 2 returns. It's time for his 2nd Pokemon. Next up, he sent out his Poliwrath, which definitely was a bit intimidating, but unfortunately for him, he just kept using Focus Punch, and I kept breaking his focus and took him out with Return. Somehow we managed to beat the 5th gym and claim ourselves the Storm badge. After defeating the 5th gym, you know what that means, it's time to battle Jasmine, the 6th gym leader. Now Jasmine uses Steel type Pokemon, so pretty much my strategy in this battle was just to spam Fire Blast. Obviously this very complicated strategy worked pretty well because I one-shot both her Magnemite and 2-shot her Steelix. I give you all permission to use my very complicated strategy in your own playthroughs. After a not very difficult gym battle, we claim ourselves the Mineral badge. After going for a little swim, I run into what I can only describe as a freak of nature. Don't worry guys, I quickly kill it. You guys can thank me for that in the comments. Now it's time for the 7th gym leader, Price. Now this battle was super easy, I pretty much took his whole team out with this Shadow Ball and Fire Blast. Because this battle was super easy, I thought I'd take a little break to remind you guys to leave a like on the video. Also leave a comment about any challenges you want me to do, or about how bad I am at Pokemon. I look forward to reading them. After that super hard, difficult battle, we claim ourselves the Glacier badge. With the 7th gym out of the way, it's time to battle Claire, the last gym leader. To start off, Claire sends out a Gyarados. I attempted this battle with the Gyarados about 20 times, and this was the best attempt, but I was still unable to beat it. I guess it's time for another grind. After a little while of trying, I ended up grinding up to level 80, and I managed to luckily take out Gyarados with a critical return. Next up, she sends out her first Dragonair. I almost take it out in one shot with return, but unluckily it hits me with a Thunder Wave and paralyzes me. She then proceeds to waste a Hyper Potion on her Dragonair, so it takes me 2 more returns to take it out. Her next Dragonair tries to go for a Slam, but misses. Unfortunately, I'm paralyzed, so I also miss my move. He then proceeds to hit me with 2 slams in a row, and I hit her with 2 returns, taking her out. Which means next up is her final Pokemon, Kingdra. To be honest with you guys, I was really scared of Kingdra going into this battle. To start off, her Kingdra uses Smoke Screen to lower my accuracy. This worried me a little bit when I used Smoke Screen, but fortunately for me, it didn't affect the battle. I hit Kingdra with a return, which does just under half damage, which means it's going to be a 3-shot. Her Kingdra then proceeds to use Hydro Pump, which I thought would do a ton of damage, but surprisingly did barely anything to me. Unfortunately, I don't get an attack in because of paralysis, so I thought the battle was over because it would hit me with another Hydro Pump, but then luckily it missed. And if that wasn't lucky enough, I then proceed to hit a critical return, so knocking it out in one shot, winning the battle. And somehow, out of pure skill, definitely not luck, we beat the final gym. And once again, another gym leader refuses to give me the badge. What's wrong with the gym leaders in this region? After successfully lying on a test to pass, she finally agrees to give me the gym badge so I can head to the Pokemon League. But before we can finally battle the Pokemon League, we have to battle the legendary Ho-Oh. That means it's time for an epic battle. Not really actually, I'm just joking. I was lazy and just threw the Master Ball at it because I didn't want to battle it. Talk about anticlimactic. After the legendary battle with Ho-Oh, I head to Victory Road. On Victory Road, I beat my rival for the final time. If you're wondering why I didn't show the battle, mostly because I wanted all of his Pokemon, I didn't think it was worth wasting any of your time. And with that disappointment of a rival battle out of the way, it's time for the Pokemon League. If you guys want my prediction, I don't even think I'll be able to beat the first Elite Four member. But let's see. Unfortunately, I was correct about not being able to beat the first Elite Four member at level 83. So I had to grind up to level 100. And even at level 100, I still managed to lose to his last Zatu. Honestly though, this was mostly because of bad luck when it confused me and all that stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to beat him next try. Next time around, again I managed to get to his last Zatu, but this time I'm on full health and I managed to take it out, taking out the first Elite Four member. Honestly, this does not bode well for the remainder of the Elite Four. Next up is Elite Four member Koga, and if I'm being honest, I expected to get utterly destroyed in this battle considering how the last Elite Four member went. But as you can clearly see in the video, I actually do really well in this battle and almost one-shot, if not two-shot, every Pokemon. I'd say the main reason for this is because 3 of his Pokemon are actually weak to fire type moves, and that's why I have Fire Blast. And as you can clearly see, I do manage to beat him on the first try, which actually really surprised me. And now it's time for the battle that I thought would end this run, the fighting type Elite Four member, Bruno. After hitting Hypnotop twice a return and then it healing up with a full restore, I managed to take it out with a critical return in one shot from full health. Next up is Hitmonlee, which surprisingly enough manages to take itself out with a high jump kick because it missed. Which means next up is his Machamp, and this is the Pokemon that I was most scared of. Now surprisingly, I did a lot more damage than I thought I would with return on Machamp, but unsurprisingly, it took me out with one cross chop. I feel like this could be the end of the run, guys. Now after attempting this battle for a few hours, I eventually got to a run where I actually managed to beat it. Now the main reason I was able to survive his cross chop this time around, because it would have one-shot me without it, I equipped a Tuckleberry to my excellent so that it could survive the one-shot. And before I hear it in the comments, I clearly stated at the start of the challenge that I am allowed to use held items. And after finally taking out Machamp after several hours, it's time for his final Pokemon, Hitmonchan. And after one return, him using a full restore and me using 2 more returns, this Elite Four member is finally defeated. Oh my gosh, this took forever. And with the 3rd Elite Four member finally defeated, it is on to the 4th Elite Four member. Now this final Elite Four member was super easy, so I thought I'd take this time to explain to you guys why this video took so long to release. So the main reason was because of so much grinding and so much having to fucking spend hours and hours trying to defeat one trainer or one gym leader. That's why this video took almost like 2 months to bring out, so yeah. But after what I can only say was a super easy battle, I managed to beat the 4th Elite Four member in one try. And that means it's time for the final battle, Lance. Unfortunately guys, this is where the challenge ends, because I was unable to beat Lance. I tried this battle for almost a day, but there's really nothing I can do. I can't get past his first Dragonite. It one-shots me with Outrage every single time. Out of all of my attempts, the video you're seeing right now was my best attempt, and even then, I wasn't able to defeat Dragonite. Unfortunately, that means no, it is not possible to beat Pokemon HeartGold with only Happiny with no heals. But I wasn't ready to give up, so I wanted to find out, could I beat Lance with heals? Let's find out. After setting up all my X attacks, X defense, and X speeds up on Lance, I was able to one-shot every single Pokemon with return. So unfortunately I wasn't able to beat Lance without using items, but with items I easily beat Lance. Which means we were able to beat HeartGold with only Happiny, but unfortunately it wasn't without items. I really hope you guys enjoyed this challenge video. It was really difficult to make. It's so hard to beat Pokemon HeartGold with only Happiny. I assumed it would be really difficult, but it was way harder than I thought it would be. Happiny is absolutely terrible Pokemon, honestly. So bad. But we did it, we managed to beat the entire game with only Happiny. Well, technically, we still used items, but whatever. Now, I know you guys are going to say in the comments, try and verse Red, but I don't think I'm going to make it through the second region, let alone get to Red. And honestly, I'm borderline insane at this point. Sorry if you guys wanted me to do that. If you do want me to do that, leave it in the comments and maybe I'll upload a second video where I try and beat Red, but I don't think I'll be able to. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys hopefully in the next one.